Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's card tutorial. This is Chala here, and I just want to say a big happy new year. I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. Things have been crazy with some craft fairs I've been involved with, as well as Christmas, and then I also moved my craft area at home, and I'm still trying to get that organized. But it's a new year, and I have some new cards for you. This one is for a very good friend of mine who has moved over the holidays. And that's always a hard time, I think, to move is, right around Christmas time. They don't celebrate Christmas, so it's probably a bit easier for them. But nonetheless, I did want to send her a quick card to congratulate her on her new home. So let's get started with this. I am using the Lawn Fawn Happy Village stamp and die set. Now you can still see the prices on there. I actually purchased this from a local scrapbooking shop, Paper Pastimes, here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. They're a great little company, and I always like to shop local or shop Canadian whenever I can. Nothing against the American companies, but I do want to support my hometown and my roots to Canada. So I've stamped this up on some Solar White Neenah paper cardstock here, and I'm using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I want to do some Copic coloring. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that Copic coloring off screen. I am not the best colorer, so if you want to learn how to Copic color, I suggest you look into videos from Kelly Ledavola. She is fantastic. I've learned some tricks from her. The other reason why I don't show my coloring is I usually take my coloring and I go and I do it when I'm waiting for my kids with their activities, or I do it when we're watching a movie together. So because my new craft area is down in the basement, I'm kind of secluded from everyone. This is a way for me to get some crafting done and still spend some time with my family. So as you can see here, I'm using my purple tape. This is a great tape to use as it doesn't, usually doesn't rip the paper. I like to use it on the back of my hand first and then put it down on the paper so that it's less sticky and it won't rip what I'm doing. Now I use these pieces over and over, so these ones aren't so bad, but I'm always really careful when I lift this micropore tape or this purple tape up after I've done putting it through my die cut machine, because it does press it down hard. That way I know I'm not going to rip my image. There's nothing more frustrating than spending all that time coloring and then having it rip when you pull up the tape. And then I have another little issue coming up here. After I run this through my die cutting machine, I just have one of those big shots, the manual ones. I'm hoping to get a fancy electric one. But after I run this through, you will see that I actually didn't tape one of them down properly, and I miscut it, so I'll have to, thankfully I actually colored an extra set, so I can go ahead and use that. That little plate there that I have, I like to put my little pieces in so I don't lose them. I got that from, I think it was from one of my FabFitFun boxes that I got. It's supposed to hold your jewelry and rings and stuff, but it works perfectly for my little die cuts so they don't go missing. I've had a few of those happen, or I've had my kids come in and they get swept away with the wind from the kids brushing in and out, or I also have cats and sometimes they tend to brush them off my work surface as well, so having that little plate there really helps. So here's where I actually miscut because I didn't want to get my head in the way. I didn't align that die properly, and so yeah, that always sucks too. Another good reason to always color duplicates of whatever you're working on, just in case this happens, and then you have them handy when you need to make another card and you don't have to worry about recoloring everything. It just kind of saves a step. Again, trying to be really careful when I pull up this tape because I don't want it to rip my project. So I'm hoping everyone had a really great Christmas and enjoyed their time with their family. I'm really looking forward to this new year and being more productive in my videos and blog posts. I always find it hard to do the blogging portion of it. I love doing the videos. The blogging part I have a hard time with. It's definitely a goal of mine to get better at, but I don't know how often people actually visit the blogs. Like when I watch tutorials, I usually just watch the YouTube videos themselves. I don't think I really go onto the blog unless there's something really that strikes me that I need to go kind of investigate more, but usually I just kind of watch the videos. So now that I have all the pieces cut out that I want to put on my card, I'm going to go ahead and pull out this Recollections Hot Buy pack of paper that I got from Michael's, and there's a great little park scene here that I'm using, and I used my Spellbinders rectangle stitch as well as my Sizzix. So the Spellbinders I used to cut out that park scene, and the Sizzix oval one I used for that white cardstock there. 5.5 by 4.25, sorry, I can't think today. For the typical A2 card size base there, I put that pattern paper on top of just some light pink paper. Again, it's just some Recollections cardstock from my local Michael's. Adhere that down with some tape runner, and then I'm laying out my pieces on how I want them to look on that oval to kind of give it like a little spotlight. I wanted it just to be on that white cardstock. And I'm using my Gina K Connect glue here because it'll give me a chance to kind of move them around if I don't get them placed just right. And because these images are kind of tiny and my hands have not been working the way I want them to lately, I'm using my reverse tweezers there just so that I can lay them down a little easier. And I'll get that set, and then from here I am kind of brainstorming on what I want to do. I'm going to put a little acrylic block on there so it holds it down. And I had those pieces there already lined up, and that is a A2 card size card base there, so that would be the 8.5 by 11, and then it's cut in half to form 4.25 by 8 and 11, and then scored. Does that make sense? I feel like numbers are hard today. So I had already scored that piece of paper so that when I was laying down these images, I knew where that halfway point was, and I wasn't going to glue them down too far to the left there. So I get these all lined up on the inside of the card. Another goal of mine is to actually make the inside of the cards as pretty as the outside of the cards, so that's what I'm trying to do here. And I'll use my tape runner to adhere this, and kind of on the third top of the card there I want it to be, so that I can place a banner sentiment underneath. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready here using some, it's kind of like a robin's egg blue cardstock that I'm using, and I'm going to use my Stamp Perfect here to make sure that I get everything lined up neatly. And I kind of have troubles with trying to line the sentiments up, and I'm trying to use my T-ruler. The only problem is I don't know if anyone else has this issue. When you're trying to line it up, it either sticks to the ruler, it sticks to your finger, or it sticks to my reverse tweezers there. You try really hard to line it up, and I don't know. It usually takes me way longer than I think it takes everyone else. But I do manage to get it all sorted out there, and I'm stamping it. Sorry, it's off screen there. I typically double stamp, but this time, because I'm using the Versamark ink there, I got a really good first impression, so I didn't have to worry about that. I'll go ahead and use my Fiskars paper trimmer here. In love with this trimmer because it has that wire guide, so you can see exactly where that line is going to cut. And I'll get this all sorted out here. I want to put this on the bottom of the front of the card there, and I go ahead and I do the little banner edges. So that's just where you take your scissors and you kind of cut in the middle and then cut on the angles to make that little triangle. So I'll go ahead and do that. Kind of figure out how long I need it to be. And then I kind of get ahead of myself here. I start to put on the little foam squares because I want that popped off, but I don't have this adhered down to my card base yet, and I usually find it difficult to apply the adhesive runner to the back if I've already used some foam adhesive. So I'll get the adhesive on the banner, and then I'm actually going to set that aside and finish up the rest of the card, and then I'll put it on later. So using the reverse tweezers here to help take that backing off. Really struggling with my hands these days. I think I might have arthritis in my hands, which is like a crafter's nightmare, but I'm trying to push through it and find some different alternatives on how I can make my jobs a little easier with my hands and still be able to craft. So again, I want to place a sentiment on the inside, so I'll use my Stamp Perfect, and again you can see me struggling here with the ruler and tweezers with that sentiment strip. It just sticks. I don't know how to get around that. If anyone has any tips or tricks, please put them in the comments below. That would be extremely helpful. So I do get it set again, and I'll use my Versamark. I really love that ink because it's so detailed. It's always crisp, does such a good job. So I have that, and now I need to go ahead and put the front or the panel on my card. So I'm going to use my bone folder and finish the scoring and pressing there. Hit it with my tape runner, and then I will get that set on the top of my card. And again, this is another part where I struggle with, is just to make sure it gets all lined up neatly, but get it down there, and then I can trim anything that hangs over the edge later on. Alright, now I get to put that little banner on the front and get that all set up. And then, of course, make sure you make it your own and put a little stamp or a little sticker on the back to show that you made that with your love and care. And that finishes today's card off. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this really quick tutorial, and I hope to have more videos up to you guys really soon. Alright guys, take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And please share with your friends who you think might enjoy this. Thanks so much everybody, and have a great day.